Yes, well, the annual E.J. Witten's Legend game is fast approaching us. And our next guest, well, he'll make an appearance this year. Please give a big welcome to former Essendon Premiership player Mark Johnson. Mark, welcome to the show, mate. It's always a pleasure to have former Premiership players on the panel.
Yeah, great to be here. The best footy show on telly.
Thanks, mate. Great. You watch the show?
Big call.
You watch the show a fair bit?
I've watched it a few times, yes. I've watched it probably more than the actual Channel 9 footy shows.
Excellent.
So.
Well done, Mark.
Big call.
Yes. Now, just tell the viewers out there, what have you been doing since you retired from AFL football?
Had a couple of cafes in the city, lucky enough to get my fingers involved in a couple of cafes in the city, Urban Deli, which went really well, but sort of got rid of them and getting into building now. So I'm a site supervisor at Burbank Homes and looking at starting my own business in building. Now,
after you left Essendon, you went to Fremantle. Yep. How did you enjoy your time over there?
I was just talking to Neil about that out the back, and George, and just... it was a really good time. It was, you have to sort of prove yourself all over again in a sense. Like at Essendon, they sort of knew what I was capable of and what I'd done, and going over there was starting afresh and proving to a whole new group of players that you're fit enough, you're strong enough, and you can play good football.
Mark, I was going to say, 1999, you was elevated to the senior list,
yeah.
And you played finals that year. And, like, for your first year, sometimes it just comes really quickly. Hawthorn's a classic example from 2008. Yeah. At the time, obviously, you didn't feel it. What did you know, what sort of emotions did you go through?
I don't think I understand until actually a fair few years later, or when you retire, that you go, how lucky was I at... I think I was 20 years old to play my first game in front of 86,000 people against Carlton. Which was amazing, and then that year to go on, and I think we got beaten by 1 year by 1 point by the same team in the prelim final, but went on the next year to win a premiership in my second year, which is amazing. But I didn't realise how hard it was up until afterwards.
I was going to say, you were actually favourites to win that flag that year. Like,
yeah.
It was a pretty big disappointment for you, wasn't it?
North Melbourne were falling over. They were injured. They had a lot of injuries, and Carlton it was sort of pre-arranged that we had the game in the bag, and like always, Carlton Essendon games, yeah, they got over the edge. Got us by a point.
John, in 2000, the Bombers only lost one game. That was an absolutely sensational effort. And then, in a way, losing the Bulldogs, I think, in round 21, was that a relief for you guys?
I think I try and put a positive spin on it and say that that's actually what made us win the grand final and just sort of knuckle down and just get it right. But in the same way, I think it was a really difficult time for football because it sort of brought in the flooding, and that aspect of football isn't a really nice way to watch football, and it sort of ruined the game for a little while. But yeah, because of the attacking influence of players like Aaron and Geelong, how they're good to watch and run the ball, sort of got rid of the flooding.
Just in 2001, you know, the Bombers were also a dominant team again. Was there a sense of that you underachieved, you know, in 2001 in the grand final?
It was sort of coming to the end of our tether. You sort of see you have little windows, and our window was 99, 2000, and 2001 would have been great, and probably 1 out of 3, looking back, probably wasn't good enough, but I'll take one any day.
Yeah. John, just congratulations on a great career. I mean, it's just great where you come from, and I know, you know, it's great watching you. I'm sure Essendon fans would have got a lot of big buzz watching you as well. You played some great footy, and I know Az reckons you was his worst nightmare when you played on him, but...
It's too quick. I just slow down somehow.
Slow him up.
But just on Hardwick, mate, he's doing a good job at Richmond, and has he ever thought of going down there and helping him out, or has he rang you? And
I actually bumped into him in Craigieburn last week. They're training out there, so I happened to bump into him while I was doing my building work out there and had a bit of a chat, but he's going great guns as it is, so there's no need for me to be anywhere near there. But it's great to see Bomber Thompson's doing fantastic down at Geelong. You got Mark Harvey just signed another 2-year deal down there, and you got Damien Hardwick over there, Dean Bailey at Melbourne. A lot of good Essendon people that I have grown up with, pretty much.
Was you interested in coaching?
I would love to coach, but I've sort of got to the end of my footy career, and I've sort of wanted to go a different direction and try different things. So maybe one day, but may go back to Sunbury and do some coaching back there, or yeah, you never know where life might take you.
Maybe you're in the building now. You were working with Burnbank. He's in Shepparton. Would you build his one-bedroom flat?
Shepparton. Be interesting.
Renovation for him.
It's actually a 4-bedroom, Ronnie.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry, I wasn't getting personal.
It's a palace.
Oh, sorry.
Mark, let's talk about your former coach, Kevin Sheedy. He's taken on the gig at Greater Western Sydney. How do you think Sheeds will go up there, and is he the right man for the job, in your opinion?
Oh, he's a marketing guru, so he's definitely the man for the job. Very weird man. I'll say that in a good way. Yeah. He's very different, but...
a bit like my brother Gilly.
Yeah, there you go. But, yeah, very, very good for the job. And I didn't realise, I was chatting to the old Essendon physio last night. We went out and had a bite to eat, and didn't realise that he had both hips replaced and a shoulder reconstruction because Dean Solomon ran into him his last 2 years at Essendon. So he was pretty drained coming to the end of his tether at Essendon, but he's had a year or two off and back into it, and he's flying at the moment. He's loving it.
The right man for the job?
Right man for the job.
Mark, just a couple of quick ones. How do you think your favourite Bombers are going at the moment? But you spoke before about some great players from that footy club that's gone on to coach. James Hird, will he become a great coach? Because he's a very, very smart man.
Essendon at the moment, trying to get their game style together, but it's not quite there. Whether they've got the right balance at the moment, it's probably...
Still learning?
Yeah, still learning. A lot of young players coming through. Fletch still going fantastic. But other than that, maybe next year, top 8. But this year's struggling a little bit. And what was the second question?
Hirdy. The great man Hirdy.
Like
he's got to become a coach, or he's got to become the president of the footy club. Sure.
He's fantastic. Don't worry, he's milling about. He's always around. He's a very smart man. And I wouldn't probably put words in his mouth or anything like that, but I think in time will tell. But I think he's an Essendon man, and if he hears the call, he'll answer it.
Jono, you spent a lot of time at Essendon. You went over to Fremantle. Just to compare the two clubs, I mean, obviously Essendon's more the club that you've spent a lot of time, but Fremantle, and who's your toughest opponent that you played on over your career? I mean, because you are a tough nut. We used to clash a few times.
Yeah, we had a few
run-ins, but you were a tough customer.
A few little tiffs.
Yeah.
It was good fun, though, wasn't it?
It was fun.
We had a ball.
Hey, Jono, I heard you beat him too.
He was great. He was tough. I hated playing on Jono. He was tough. But, I mean, go back to the question. I mean, Essendon, and how did you find Fremantle Footy Club?
Both had their really good points and, you know, not bad points, but just different points. Essendon, great club, rich in culture. But when I went over to Fremantle, I didn't understand how good a club it actually is. Very, very professional. Great facilities, great people. And they're on the way up. They just need a really good figurehead, which is Mark Harvey in a nutshell. And really, they can do anything. I didn't even think they were going to be as good this year, but I knew come next year or the year after they were going to be fantastic. They've just... He's got them going unbelievably well for how long he's had them. OK, Mark, just... I want to talk to you about the Legends game that's coming up on Tuesday, July the 6th, the E.J. Whitten Legends game. And this is your first game, isn't it, for the E.J. Whitten It's my first. I've actually only had one kick in 2 years, so it's a hamstring written all over it.
Well, you can see the details on the screen there, Gilly. 7:30. It's on TV as well if you can't get to the ground, but for a great cause.
I was going to say, are you going to stand him?
I hope not.
Hey, it could be on again.
Stand him again.
Toe to toe, me and Ronnie. The middle of Etihad Stadium.
Stand him again and beat him again.
Back to the good old days.
Oh, jeez.
Mark,
how come you didn't get a game?
I'll be singing out for you.
Just stick with us, Mark, because we're going to go straight to our next game. It's